Welcome back to the Amber Force podcast. We're happy to have you here.
Cheers.
We're happy to have you here, boys. Sweet. How's your week?
What could be said? Well, not a whole ass of a lot, to be honest with you. It's been snowing a lot recently here, which it's spring, so you don't like expect it, but then I don't know, it's like back and forth, like snow, rain, 80 degrees, snow, rain. So you're like, yeah, I don't know what's going on right now.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I kind of miss filming in the winter, in the freezing cold. I did that for so many music videos. Just Micah just put up with it. I know you and Josh did that too.
Man, I've only done it a couple times where it was like extremely, extremely cold, but it's hard to know if it's worth it, I mean, I guess so I have this visualizer for a song called Magic, and it was out, it was straight up January, like 20th, I think. And it was so cold, but that is one of my favorite videos. Like, I do love seeing snow on camera, like on film. It's great. It's so cozy, but it kind of adds insult to injury when it's already difficult enough sometimes just to film something. And then you're like, okay, now I have to deal with the weather.
Yeah, man. Got to bump that ISO way down in the snow.
Yeah, the highlights.
Yeah, dude. No, it looks sick though, especially like slow motion. I did that, I don't know if you ever saw it, it's like pavement acoustic video, and I was on like a swing set.
Yeah.
And for some reason in my head, I wrote it and it was like, there was no snow. I didn't realize there was snow where we filmed for some reason. So we got there and it's just like up to our knees, but made it work. So
yeah, if you put her in 60 frames and get some snowfall, that's just amazing. It looks so epic. Like, for my Fate music video, I saw a music video that had like what I thought were just a bunch of feathers. So I was like, oh shit, like I want to do that. I want to replicate this scene. So I bought like a shitload of feathers, like goose feathers or something. I think they were synthetic, the ones I bought actually. But I bought like a ton. Like I paid a ton of money for like just this massive amount of feathers. And I thought they were going to be like really, really tiny feathers, but they were just like these big chunks. So in that music video, there's just like this scene where all these feathers are going across the sky and they're just massive. And I like looked at the footage and I was like, that is not that does not look like the reference at all. And then I asked Josh about it and I was like, what's wrong with this? And he's like, oh, that's like they're using a snow machine in that. It's not feathers.
Did he know that the whole time, like even before he shot? And he's like, oh yeah, it's not going to look like that.
Yeah, he's like, oh yeah, that's just, I don't know if he knew that the whole time or not. I think he did, but he maybe didn't mention it or something. But then I was like, okay, well now I'm going to buy a snow machine and we can redo it. We never ended up redoing the shots. We just did a separate thing with the snow machine. So we had the feathers and the snow machine. And you can see that like at the end of the song, there's like, I'm in my garage and there's just snow falling. And then we used it for the film, so it was good.
Yeah, speaking of the snow machine, I've been editing the last couple of days, like going back and just messing around with some sound and dialogue and color, and I just keep hearing this. I keep hearing the snow machine, dude. It's like I'll like go to my like media pool to find a clip, like at the the airport scenes, and it's just like so loud over my speakers. I have to like mute it quick. Yeah. But you know what? It's working out. It's it's been cool to go back and check out the footage. I don't know, fresh perspective. There's like all these little things where I'm like, oh, like we could just extend this clip here, swap this out a bit. Like I've done a couple things just after having like months away. It's really cool. So
I'm curious to see how like the old school snow creation methods are because I know like there's something recently that got banned, I believe. And I was talking about it I was talking about that in a previous one, like a Nosferatu. They used potato snake. Dude, a potato snake would be wild. But they used potato flakes for their snow. It looked amazing. But in The Northman, which is another film Robert Eggers directed, same person as Nosferatu, he used like a totally different method where you swing this thing around. I've talked about it twice without actually looking up, what it is or how it works. So I actually should do that. I should look that up because that would be nice to. I think the thing with the snow machine is that you got to place it in the perfect spot, and then if you're outside, the wind is just going to dictate everything. So it's really tough. But we did make it work with those establishing shots.
Yeah, those when we were shooting at the airport hangar, I remember like for a couple of shots. I think you were just like you'd be on one side and you'd start it and the wind would change. You'd like run to the other side. Yeah, and then it would just keep changing. It's so funny
with the snow machine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it had like those weird LED flashing lights, like party lights on it.
Yeah.
So funny.
Yeah, because it's usually just for like a cheesy like Christmas party or whatever. I don't know what you're supposed to use it for.
Yeah, we've been talking, and I think maybe next episode we're gonna potentially go through some Firelight still frames, kind of break down the scenes, just kind of do like a dedicated thing. Because I think it'd be fun. Be like I always like diving more into like technical nerdy, just random stuff, that people wouldn't know.
Yeah, I want to do some like movie reviews too. That'd be cool, like some breakdowns.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Should do movie of the week.
Yeah, movie of the week. I've got a couple. So one of them was Mickey 17, which you mentioned last, I think. Robert Pattinson, definitely one of his craziest performances ever. I've never really seen him do like a character that was so different maybe from what you're used to seeing.
You haven't seen The Lighthouse, right?
Still haven't seen The Lighthouse, which is weird because like it's my favorite director who made that, but I'm gonna watch that soon. But yeah, that was like my favorite part about it. Definitely his performance. Other aspects of the movie were like pretty wild and crazy and cool too. But I think for me, like the biggest thing, I was like, okay, that performance was just like so cool to watch. I have another one too. I can't think of it. You can go. I'll come back. Bring it around. Bring it right back around.
Yeah, dude, I've been watching a lot. I've been watching a lot of shows because there's just like new stuff that's come out. The Studio, Seth Rogen, Bryan Cranston. Really cool. I was telling you about it. I did watch Adolescence because Tyler was talking about it. Really crazy, dude. Like all the one-shot stuff and like that, like how they transition to like a drone. So cool. And then, yeah, the Studio second episode's all one shot as well. But yeah, movie. There's this new horror movie called The Rule of Jenny Penn with Jeffrey Rush and John Lithgow. Fucking insane, dude. It's basically about like a what do you call it? Like a retirement home, like old age home. And like this one like old guy that just like abuses all the elders and he's like fucked up and he's got this like doll that he keeps on his hand. Just like one of the creepiest characters I've ever seen, dude. Like he played the Trinity Killer in Dexter, which was super creepy, but this character like topped it. Like he's such a good actor. So yeah, great movie.
So it takes place in the retirement home?
It does, dude. Greasy, like wonky older people. Just the editing was insane too. Like just a lot of those like trippy sequences of like zooming in on like a person like eating like soup and dancing around and shit. Yeah, it's
Reminds
crazy.
me of kind of like Shutter Island's a little bit of that vibe in there, right? That's crazy. Yeah, I haven't seen a horror in a while. I watched Kiki's Delivery Service. It's a Studio Ghibli. That's another one I remember. I have so many movies I actually watched that I'm remembering. 50 First Dates, revisited that one. That's an iconic. It's actually really, really well done. Like if they film it in Hawaii and then they have this like marine life institute that's like a part of it, and like the animal acting, so to speak, is incredible. Well, like there's this walrus that literally like claps and like does like kissing motions and is so funny. And I just like never realized. It's one of those movies where I've seen it so many times back in the day, and now that I'm older and watch it again, I'm just like, holy shit, this is a good movie. It's really well done. Not even just like some of those rom-coms, sure they are just like throw them together quick, but some of those older ones, like the 2000s rom-coms, like they're really well done and like big budgets, which is crazy.
Yeah, they did a lot of animal stuff, like themed, like animal characters back then.
Can't think of another animal themed one, but
There was like what the horse one, Black Beauty, is that what it's called? The horse one. There
Not
was
sure.
like the dolphin, or no, something moo, the dolphin or like a sea lion.
War Horse.
I don't know. Spirit. That was a
Secretariat.
cartoon, but
Oh, Seabiscuit.
Seabiscuit. Yeah. Oh,
No, those are actually just horse movies.
there was Snow Dogs,
Pause. Remember
Shiloh.
Pause. Oh, dude, Cats versus Dogs was insane.
Yeah,
They like animated all the mouths, so they were like moving.
Air Bud.
Creepy, but Air Bud.
I don't know how I always wonder how the hell they did that back then. Like I don't know. They must have had
Yeah.
just insane technology back in the earlier days.
Because I've heard working with animals is kind of a nightmare with movies.
Well, yeah.
And it's kind of weird too. You're like just forcing this dog to like, I don't know. It's probably like, yeah, it's probably a little odd.
I always think about that with like babies too. It's like
Right.
the baby had no choice.
Yeah, the baby didn't choose to be in
know.
that scene.
But I mean, I guess they'll get money later. But I was watching it was that American Sports Story. I think that's what it was. They're basically having this like crazy argument and she's holding the baby. And I was kind of just like, I mean, wouldn't the baby like not like it doesn't know it's fake. So that's kind of crazy.
Was it a doll though? Because sometimes they swap.
I don't
it with
know.
A doll.
It might have been because it was like you see it when it's on
Yeah.
her, but
Mhm.
she's still like screaming and stuff. So I don't know. Some
Yeah,
trauma.
I saw
there.
this movie recently where like they just dropped the baby in the movie, but it was obviously a doll, and you're just like, or maybe it was a music video. Could have been a music video. Never mind. But either way, it's just weird because like there's scenes with a real baby, and then the next scene they like drop it, and you're like, what the hell? And then you're like, oh, it's a doll. Obviously, it was a music video. Actually, I don't know why. It's so random.
Yeah, man. But I don't know. Sometimes though, like especially in the older movies. Well, I guess now too. Like I just feel like I can't believe like younger people like how good they are at acting sometimes. But I wonder if it's like easier because you're a kid and it's like you play pretend, everything's magical. But just some of the emotional stuff, I'm just like, how do they do that? Like they must be so self-aware. Just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you're a kid, you do kind of have a natural knack for a lot of things. There's like this quote, ignorance is the engine of creativity. And it's like, not saying like, you're necessarily ignorant just because you're a kid, but it's just saying you know less knowledge and logical information, but everything's more intuitive. It's more like just spur of the moment, And I feel like you can just do things like that probably a little bit easier because you don't have the baggage maybe holding you back or, the self.
Yeah, you're not like
criticism.
criticizing yourself.
Yeah.
Not even able to really.
100%.
That's got to be
And
the
I
biggest blockage for acting.
Yeah, and I find that similar with like songwriting too. I was able just to write the most random, crazy, ridiculous things back in the day because I wasn't thinking about any musicality connected to it. I was just like, this is just pure emotion. So I wonder if that's part of it too. You're just like, you don't know the rules yet, so you just like naturally do things a little bit better.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's weird how you develop. I don't know. I always find it's kind of like an Eckhart Tolle thing, like he always talks about, where it's like the fact you can even say, I feel this way. Like you're acknowledging that there's two parts of you, right? But it's like, but then we don't acknowledge that, So it's just a weird thing to develop over your life where you literally develop this like third person awareness of yourself. And that's kind of what you go by most of the time, which is super trippy. Just like,
yeah, I think the more present you are, you can get back to that like childhood sense of wonder. Because, yeah, when you're a kid, you're not like, you have less things to compare every experience to. So it's like everything is this like super tactile, tangible, I don't know, qualia experience. And if you're thinking too much and there's too much going on in your head, you can't enjoy what's around you. It's like, I don't know, just like driving by people. The other day, I was like noticing, I drove by like 6 people that were going on these walks, and there's like beautiful trails, and they were all on their phone during the walk. And I was like, dang, like just think of how much they're missing around them. But people are just so locked in to like this fake world that exists within their mind, and they like think that they're not only the phone but just even your thoughts. Like you could go for a walk in a beautiful park but could be totally in your head the entire time, and you might not notice anything around you, like all the beauty around you. And sometimes it can just take a little reminder of like, okay, be present. And then boom, all of a sudden your mood just elevates immediately. Everything in the world just like colors become more vibrant, sounds become better. It's just like food. Like food can taste better if you just like pay attention to what you're doing and be present. So, and those are things that you used to feel as a kid too. So I think that's where nostalgia comes from too. We're just like, oh, everything was so much better. Like everything was so fun, and experiences were just so novel. But I don't know. I think that should always be the goal of everyone. It's like, obviously you got to get your shit together, get your finances together so you can survive and be an adult and pay your bills. But after that, you should unlearn a lot of that baggage and get back to being getting that child sense of wonder.
Guess that's what we're trying to chase with creative stuff, making movie and
100%.
Just trying to unblock all that stuff.
Yeah, every time I go in the cinema, that's like one of the biggest triggers is I smell that popcorn. As soon as I smell the popcorn, I'm just like, just transported back to like when I was a kid and I would go to the movie theater and it was just so cool, I remember, when you would go to a movie as a kid, it was like a big deal, you know what I mean? And I feel like that is it's like the feeling I want to create, like making films. It's just like be able to create that sense of like, I don't know, whatever that is, whatever weird like feeling. It's almost like a spiritual experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, the magic.
Yeah, the first time I got to see like I don't know what the rating it was in the States, but Canada was like called 14A, or if you're 14, you could go. Remember that was a massive deal. I went to see what's that Will Smith movie? I mean, there's a billion, but
I Am Legend.
I Am Legend.
Robot.
That was the one. I was like, so like proud. I'm like obsessed with it. That was a good movie.
So that wasn't rated R then, huh? Because Canada has different systems. Because we have PG-13.
Yeah.
And then rated R. It's funny because you used to actually think about that with movies, like, oh, what is it rated?
Dude, I know.
Or like video games, like,
dude,
video games. Was it? Yeah.
When you would see like the red thing, like this film is rated R, it'd be like, oh, like when you're watching a trailer, it's kind of like scary.
Yeah.
I haven't thought
or your
about
mom, you'd be like, you like want to watch this movie? You're like, can I watch this? And she's like, no, it's rated R. You can't.
I know, but
you don't even think about that anymore.
Yeah, I 100% feel like film, like stuff that used to be rated R is like PG-13 now, though, for sure.
Yeah.
Like it's just gotten more extreme.
The most extreme was mature. If it was rated M for mature, well, that was the video games. But then there was like there was
M.
movies that were rated R, but also like mature.
Mm-hmm.
So that meant there was like nudity. Once you saw that, you were like, oh boy.
Oh, dude. Or if like you're watching a movie with your family and there's like a bad scene. Did you ever feel insanely awkward?
Oh my God. My mom would always like, if she was near me, she would just like cover my eyes.
So funny. Yeah.
That's a classic.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, I remember we wanted to like watch a bunch of horror movies at Micah's house. And we got like Psycho, like there's one called Rats. Like just a bunch of older horror movies. And it was like like my first time, like we're going to have a horror night. And I remember his parents like watched the movies to make sure we could watch them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was funny. His mom was like, no, but his dad was just like, I don't care. Dude, Psycho though, that fucking freaks me out, dude. It was the Vince Vaughn version. I don't know if you ever seen or heard of that, but
I don't think
creepy.
So.
It's just crazy how much different movies felt when you were a kid. Like even stuff like super bad. Like you'd see a trailer and be like, oh, that's so bad. Like,
yeah,
you know,
the language and
it's just
the swearing.
It's so funny. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like some of the first horror movies I ever watched, because I've gone through so many weird phases in my life where first horror movies were like the scariest thing ever. I think I first saw like Chucky.
Oh yeah.
And dude, that Child's Play, that fucked me up bad. So many nightmares
Scary.
about Chucky, dude. Dude, I can't even tell you the amount of times Chucky has stabbed me to death in a dream.
Yeah.
So pissed. Every
Dude.
time I'm so pissed.
For me, it was, I had two things. It was Goosebumps. Did you ever watch that?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
The one with
books
with
actually fucked me up.
Oh, yeah. The one with the dummy.
Smiley?
Is that
Yes,
yeah,
dude.
dude,
Smiley?
that fucking scared
Oh
me
my
so
God.
bad. Yeah. And then the other one for me was Dobby from Harry Potter. When I saw him
Really?
on the
Okay.
trailers, like his eyes, dude, I would like start crying, like nightmares. It was, yeah.
That's crazy because Dobby's such like an innocent
I know.
character.
He's like so cute.
Dude, I got to tell you, there was this. So Smiley and Chucky were the two. So that dummy in Goosebumps,
Oh my God.
that dummy and then Chucky both were like the two most, the two creatures that basically haunted my nightmares the most. So when I was a kid, I had this recurring dream like, I don't know, like 50 times as a kid. I would wake up in my room, and I think my mom and me shared a room back in like our old apartment. This is like way back in the day. Just like me and my mom living there. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and I would like have to go to the bathroom. And I'd be like, oh, okay, everything's normal. Like I would go to the bathroom, come back, fucking Smiley would be sitting up on the bookshelf. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then he would jump down and attack me. No, it was actually a dream, obviously. And every time he would jump off the bookshelf, I was just like running away towards my mom's bed like this, like, no. And I'm like, I can't run any faster. I'm running like 2 miles an hour. He's going full speed. He's coming right at me. Just little chompers, just absolutely going. Like the dummy, whatever you call him. And he just pounced, and he would get you, and then you'd wake up and just pure terror, and then I'd start crying and
You pissed
run to my
yourself.
mom's
You're
bed.
sweating.
Dude, but it sucked because I would wake up and I would never know, is this a dream or is this just normal? Go to the bathroom. Half the time it's a dream, half the time it was actually just reality.
Yeah, dude. It's the worst when you have a dream that happens in your room. Like that's the worst.
100%.
I remember I had this one dream in my old room that there was usually like clothes on the floor and stuff, and I remember just waking up and seeing this thing like swimming through the clothes under the floor.
Oh my God.
Fucking scared me so bad, dude. But
Fuck
yeah,
that.
speaking of books though, yeah, sometimes I used to read these. They're like Christian horror books called Spine Chillers. And there's another one called
That's so random.
My Life as Wally McDougal. And it was like these fucking weird, like, I remember this one story where he was like, it's kind of like he goes on some crazy adventures. Like, oh, he becomes like a scuba diver in this one, like an astronaut in this one. But he was like a scuba diver and he was exploring a shipwreck and he found like a dead body. And it said something about its eye hanging out, dude. And like I was reading it and I was fucking paralyzed, bro. Like I couldn't move. Like I was so scared. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, dude, books can be really scary. There was this book called, Scary Stories to Read in the Dark.
Oh my God.
That was a book first. Dude, I had this book. It smelled scary. Like you would open the pages and it smelled scary. I cannot explain it to this day. And those drawings, dude, did you read that as a kid at all?
Yeah.
Dude, those drawings
They were
are so
scary.
creepy. There was this one story. I had a sleepover at a friend's house. It was three of us. We were in 4th grade. And there was a story called De Fago. And it was about some like, I don't know, like Native American spirit, or I can't exactly remember like what the story was, but I remember it was some spirit that, haunted this, whatever, these people. Can't remember the story. You can look it up. I think it's called De Fago. And dude, we got done reading the story and all three of us, we were sleeping in separate parts of the room. Like one person was on the couch, one person was on the ground, another person was on an air mattress. After like one person read all this, like this story to everybody, we all went to one bed. And we were just like cuddled up, just like so freaking scared. And I remember all of a sudden there was like this glass door downstairs and there was this massive pounding and we all freaked out. And then it ended up being the kid's dad who lived there, who was just like moving sticks or something. Oh my God, dude. Terrified me.
That's greasy, man. Yeah, that book was scary. There was like, I don't think it wasn't the same like series, but there was like, or at least in Canada, there was, and they would sell them at like campgrounds, like the gift shops. This series, it was called like Campfire Ghost Stories, and they had like haunted highways from different parts of Canada. But yeah, same kind of thing, just like these short, really terrifying stories. And I remember one time, Mike always brings this up too, but we were like at like a science fair in grade 7 we had to make projects, and our booths were beside each other. And I told him one of the stories, and he was like fucking terrified for like a week. Like he would always tell me, he's like, dude, that story like scared me so bad. I can't remember what it was about. It's called like something Sam. But it was about this like fucked up, like deformed kid that lived in like a basement. Like it was really weird. But yeah.
That's funny, dude.
Yeah, it's funny to think back on all that.
Yeah, Chucky was a big one for me. That fucked me up a lot. So I think those were like, that was like the first. But I remember when I saw Paranormal Activity in theaters for the first time. Dude, that got me so bad.
I rewatched that recently. It's still good.
The original one?
I rewatched like 3 of them, yeah. Yeah, creepy.
Yeah, the second one has like a daytime scare. Like it's not even nighttime in the movie. And you just don't expect it. And it freaked me out. I was watching it Home Alone at like 2 a.m. I think I was only like 14 or something at the time, but yeah. I feel like I'm more afraid of horror movies now sometimes than I was, which is so weird. I've heard other adults say that too.
It's just heavier.
I don't know why.
Because it reminds you of your own life sometimes. You're like, oh, I got like all this other shit going on.
Like a lot of people like horror because it's like, it makes you appreciate how normal and good your life is. But I think as an adult, like a horror movie's like, shit, life's kind of hard enough. And now you're like making me feel even worse with this horror film. But it can do the opposite. Like,
yeah, definitely.
You don't have to feel negative. Because like both me and you, we love like the aesthetic of horror. It's not just about, like for me, one of my favorite movies is The Witch, which is technically a horror movie, but I don't feel bad at all when I watch it. I'm like, this is fucking awesome. Like the cinematography is amazing. The sound is amazing. The music is good. So it's more of like the cinematic experience for some horror movies. But then some horror movies are just like, this is just designed to make you feel terrible. And there's really nothing great about it. Maybe some of those like old school ones.
Dude, yeah, actually, that reminds me, like what is it, like Jason? Is he from, not Halloween, Friday the 13th?
Dude, there's like a statue of Jason at the bottom of a lake in Minnesota.
Really?
And you can like scuba dive down. I don't know where it is. Creepy as hell, though. Like the footage is so creepy. Because like people, like a scuba diver like shines a flashlight on it and you just like see it.
Yeah. Underwater stuff
so
is
weird.
The worst.
Mm-hmm.
There was this found footage movie called Deep House, and it was all underwater. Like they basically, there's a house that's underwater, and they go into it, and it's like all through their cameras. Ugh, so gross, dude.
Yeah, I get creeped out in lakes.
Oh,
like
I know.
When I'm swimming in a lake, dude, because I'm like, I can't see anything. Like the water's so murky,
I'm
just like
lake,
freaked
man.
out.
Yeah,
no,
not a swimming man,
dude. Like, and the worst part about it is getting obsessed with UFOs. You learn that a vast majority, well, not a vast majority of sightings, but a very large part of UFO, UAP sightings are like craft that come out of the water in lakes, in oceans. And it's just like, so first of all, it's already scary enough. You jump in a fucking lake and there's like muskies and like northerns down there. And then you got to worry about fucking aliens. It's like, yeah, fuck that, dude.
What if there's like a body in there or something? Like you don't know. Oh,
100%. Could be anything.
Yeah.
Fucking Nessie.
Yeah, who knows?
Could be down there.
Yeah.
Not a fan. And ocean swimming, like deep ocean swimming with like sharks. I mean, that's a whole nother level.
Yep. There's a horror movie about every situation.
Yeah.
Possible.
Totally.
Yep.
What was that one, like 47 meters down or something?
Yeah, I think I saw that. Was that about where the girl gets trapped down there? Or
yeah, she's like trapped in like a shark cage.
Yeah. Fuck
and
that.
She's so deep, like you can't just like come up immediately because of the pressure change.
Yeah, that's creepy too. I remember when we're like, I don't know, grade 6 or 7, and like there was some like lesson, and it was about that. It was like, oh yeah, when you dive, like you can't come up too fast, or you get like bubbles in your body. And I was like,
in your brain,
fucking terrified. I was like, what do you mean? Yeah. Like you like bubbles? Like fucking gross, dude.
I wanted to get my scuba diving license as a kid because there's There's this area near Brainerd, Minnesota. It's called Crosby, and they have these like Brainerd. Yeah, it's actually that's where they filmed Fargo.
Oh, movie. Really?
Or I don't know if they filmed it in there, but it's based in Brainerd, Minnesota. That's
awesome.
That's the movie. The movie Fargo is based actually in Brainerd, not in Fargo. But anyways, so what's funny is, well, anyways, I wanted to get my scuba diving license because they have a class there. You can get a certification there, because one of my uncles, he's like certified diver. And he took me in, the mine. There's like these mine pits, they're called, near Crosby, Ironton, this area. And basically it's like crystal clear water. You can see everything. And it goes like, some places go down like hundreds of feet because they're like man-made lakes. They're not really lakes, natural lakes. And you can dive and see everything perfectly. So I wanted to do it, but I could never get past like a certain depth. And then once that pressure hits me, I was never able to like clear the pressure out of my head, because you're supposed to like plug your nose and blow out as hard as you can to like, adjust the pressure in your head. I was never able to do that. So because of that, I was like, well, I guess I can't dive, because even with scuba diving gear, you still need to change the pressure. You need to like adjust your body to each pressure zone or whatever. I could never do that for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah, I've never done that kind of stuff. I wouldn't do it. I just remembered this, but when I was a kid, I actually like went down a waterfall. Like we were at this little like, I think it was called Furnace Falls, and it's just like a kind of a river, but it's got some like big falls. And we would just play at the top. But I remember I got caught in the current and like went down the waterfall, and I like got carried out in the lake, and I was fucking like, I'm gonna die. My dad came and got me, but I think probably since that I'm like, I don't really want to go in the water. So I never swim. Even in pools, I just like, I don't want to. I'm good,
Yeah.
Water just creeps
for
me
Boy Scout for Boy Scout camp, we had to do like, I always loved like, I don't know, at Boy Scout camp it would be fun to like kayak and stuff, and then tip each other in the lake. Just like tip your friends, and then they'd have to like swim back with the kayak like a mile. It's freaking hilarious. But when you're not with like friends, swimming is, I don't know, it's different for everybody. Like in Minnesota, people are obsessed with going to the lake. So for me, it's like, I don't know. I do enjoy like being on the pontoon. It's like chilling, drinking some whatever, just like hanging out on the lake. But like jumping in, I don't mind jumping in. I just don't want to like swim for a while. It's not always the greatest. I still do it though. I still will like, I go to this cabin thing at my stepdad's, and he always got like one of those, he has a lake trampoline at the end of their dock. So I like still like jump on that with like the, cousins and stuff, and push people off and, have fun. Like it's really fun because there's a slide that goes into the lake, but it's not like extremely deep there. I don't know. Something about like deep lake swimming just freaks me out.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, no.
I could never float either. That was one thing with Boy Scout camp. They wanted you to be able to completely float without moving for like 30 seconds. Just do the back float without moving at all. It's so hard.
I
was just sink.
Yeah, I did actually. I had a pool when I was younger, like just one of the kind of the blow up ones. I did like going in there, but I would always, I don't know why, but I would just pretend to be like, I would just be outside like pretending to do like scenes from Lord of the Rings and movies. Like I remember I had this like kind of like jungle gym. It had like a slide and swings, and I like would climb up to the top, and I put like a board on there, and I put my trampoline under it, and I would always pretend to do that scene where the guy jumps off like on fire from Lord of the Rings. And like I would but then in the pool I would do the thing where I think Sam, where he runs into the water and he's like falling and drowning. He's like looking up at the sun, like reaching for Frodo. I don't know.
It's a classic.
For some reason that was fun back then. Just by myself.
The trampoline, because I lived alone in the country, so my nearest friend was multiple miles away. I couldn't bike ride. I mean, you could, but it was just like kind of dangerous because it was like highways connecting, But yeah, dude, I would just play on the trampoline for hours. I think we mentioned that in the last, one of the last podcasts. Did, yeah. I just went hard on that thing.
I used to go bike rides every day. Like we had like down the road was like a big factory, and they had like a giant parking lot and property. I would just bike around there. And I remember Yeah, it burned down. Like my parents woke me up at like 4 a.m. Like we got to go because there's like toxic fumes.
Oh,
Pretty
crazy.
weird. Yeah, that was fun though.
Did you grow up in the country or was it in town?
It's still like rural. Like the town where I'm
Yeah.
at, it's kind of like in the middle of like big country, but it's still a town.
Right.
But I lived on the outskirts, kind of. So yeah, it was rural.
Yeah, there was just like this woods that I would just play in like every day. Just I would make swords, like wooden swords. I would just play by myself for literally hours and hours and hours on end. And I did that my entire childhood. Like I did not hang out with friends much at all. I wonder if that, I mean, it's got to make someone an introvert. Like I feel like that's got to be the reason I'm an introvert. I don't know.
Probably
Because I didn't have
partially.
siblings growing up. I do have a brother, a half brother, but he lived with my dad, and then I lived with my mom. So we only got to see each other like a couple times a month. So that was cool though, because it's like, oh, you know, you can have the experience of, you know, living with a sibling, but it wasn't like full time. So for the most part, I was pretty alone.
Full-time sibling.
Which I don't know, full time. Yeah.
Dude, yeah.
But
I just remembered this. Mike, like we've been friends forever, so he would come over and we had this other friend. And I remember one time, so I had this neighbor that was kind of like a farmer guy, like classic, like kind of like yells at you, don't touch the whatever, you know.
iconic, yeah.
And he was always on his lawnmower. There's a part in the next script, Dusty Jones, where there's like a guy on his lawnmower and like you see he's just wearing overalls and there's like a poop stain. True story.
Oh.
But he was like this kind of mysterious,
True story.
like kind of scary guy. And me and Mike and our friend, he was like cutting the grass one time and we basically we had a little handy cam and we snuck across into his yard, into his shed.
Yeah.
And it was actually so fun, dude, because it was like classic, like don't get caught, like ducking behind shit. And
Iconic, yeah.
then my mom found out and she made me like go help him with some
Yeah.
yard work. And I was like, fuck, like please don't make me go there. Like I thought he was going to kill me, dude. So funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's funny
good
when you
times.
base stuff off of like real life events.
You just remember something weird or funny. That's, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's so. My mom and me were just talking about that. Like she was like, "Oh, it'd be so funny if you know, made a script based on like this thing." I would like be at my grandma's house, and there was always just like crazy because that's where I stayed in the summers, my grandma's house, and I just lived there basically in the summer, and it's just so many funny misadventures like being there, and all the family was always like in that, like people would just come over and visit and everyone's like talking over each other and there's like animals running around everywhere and it's like so chaotic but just so hilarious. And those are like very rich memories that I think like it's really cool when people recreate stuff from their actual life. It's just, it comes across so authentic in like a film.
Yeah.
Because I know Seth Rogen, I think Superbad is pretty much like a 1-for-1 experience, like his high school
So
experience,
funny.
kind of, which is so funny, and it makes it so much better.
Yeah, I agree, man.
But yeah, can't remember where I was going with that, but no, it's. You ever play like Ding Dong Ditch? And
I only did it once and it was in like Yorkshire
Yeah.
or something. I think I was telling about it on the podcast.
oh, that's right.
Yeah, but I never
It's a
did.
classic though. Running from the like, you get the cops called on you. I mean, I lived in the country, so I would have to do this like staying at a friend's house who lived in town. And you just go ding dong ditch all your other friends that live in town.
Yeah,
So
never done
fun.
it.
Or TPing and homecoming.
Never did it.
But-
We had our house egged a whole bunch. I remember there was like a time where we were kind of having like someone was like breaking into cars on our street, like just stealing change and stuff. And I literally set up like Home Alone style shit outside. Like, it was so bad though. It's just like I tied a string from like a basketball net to some other thing, like so
like a
stupid.
Ruth Goldberg machine or whatever you call that.
Yeah.
thing. I don't know what those are called.
Yeah, and I would go out with like I had a magnifying glass and I would go look for footprints and stuff. Like I don't know, it's funny, man.
I remember when I was living in that apartment with my mom. Pretty sure the neighbor girl stole my mom's radio just like right out of the car, and like we knew it was her, and it was just so awkward because like they had like a little kid that was my age, and then I would like go over there sometimes, and I would be like, "Hey, can you tell your sister to give my mom her radio back?"
That's funny.
And he'd be like, "I don't know what you're talking about." Oh, that kid was so weird. No, that I just remembered.
Sorry, gotta
Man,
fix the fucking hair, dude. Drive me nuts. All right.
He would do some like really creepy shit, and I just remembered that kind of like did not think of. He was just like, I don't know. Yeah, he was a weird guy. And then he moved away. He moved away, and I was like, yeah, this is kind of nice.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, there was this. Yeah, I think I've talked about a couple of them, but I kind of had a kid like that. He'd like steal shit at school, and like the guy that would like punch people. But his parents would always make him come to whoever. Like he came to my house a couple times to apologize, and like would give me like a hockey card or some shit. But yeah, just keep doing it. It's pretty funny.
Oh, I just remember this one time I went to like a playground with my mom. I was like 3 or 4. I don't think I was in elementary school quite yet. And these 2 kids just like started freaking out at me. They just started swearing at me. And I was like so freaked out because you're like 3 or 4 years old. You're like, whoa, like I've never had this happen before. I remember they were like threatening me, and they like chased me and like were like kicking at me, and I was just crying and screaming. And I think my mom saw it and was like, what should I do? Like, should I stop the kids, or should I let him like experience what this is like, kind of? And I think she kind of just let it happen a little bit. And I was so traumatized from it. It was in Belle Plaine, and it was this we call it the Rainbow Park, and I never wanted to go back to that park ever again because I was so traumatized by that.
Oh, dude, that's the worst.
Getting bullied, like when you're really, really little, like kindergarten or preschool, like it feels like the end of the world. It's so scary.
And when you're with one of your parents, it for some reason feels weird.
Yeah,
like I don't know, because you kind of feel embarrassed for your parents to say something,
right?
You know.
Yeah, I got teased on the bus all the time. I remember in 1st grade.
I never had to take the bus, so I'm thankful for that. Because I've heard horror stories.
The bus is rough, dude, because you're just isolated with a bunch of older kids.
Yeah.
And the older kids can be so mean. Dude, I would be like shamed on the bus. I was like traumatized like so many times. Like every time, like sometimes I would be like so afraid to go on the bus after school. I would just like cry at my locker. I remember these 2 girls, they were twins, came up and they're like, oh, what's wrong? And I was like, I'm so sick of it. I'm like so sick of this one kid. And then then they told my teacher, they're like, hey, Dustin's crying at the locker. And I was like, no, you got to be kidding me. So she brings me in and she's like, okay, like what's wrong? And I was like, okay, it's this one kid. He keeps bullying me on the bus. And she's like, okay, I'm going to go. So she goes out to the bus area, which is like the teachers never do that. She goes onto the bus and she finds the kid and like grabs him and like pulls him up to the bus driver and tells him the whole situation. And I remember I sat down on the bus, and then this kid is just getting yelled at the front of the bus. And then he comes back down the bus aisles and he's just like hanging his head. Like he's just like moping all the way back to his seat. I was like, fuck yeah.
Yeah,
I was like, let's go. Because he was like 3 years older than me. Like I couldn't do shit, you know?
Yeah, it's hard.
And it's like you think back on those times and you're like, wow, that sucks so bad at the time. But I'm kind of grateful it happened because it just builds character in some weird way. Like you don't want someone to go through that. Like you never want a kid to get bullied. But I mean, and it can go south. Like, you know, it can go really bad for someone who's getting bullied. And I think it's horrible. People should do whatever they can to stop it at schools. But for whatever reason, like, I am glad that it happened to me for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Builds your character, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. But it's nice to not have to deal with that anymore.
No, 100%. Sure. I remember when I was in high school, there was a couple times. And I was like, you know, an athlete, you know, a really good athlete. And no one like messed with me anymore because I was like always in the gym. Like I had a bunch of weightlifting records in my weight class in my high school. And I remember one time a kid was getting shoved in like a locker. And I was like, hey guys, like, come on, stop. Like, don't do that. And they were like, oh, like maybe we should shove you in the locker then. And I was like, oh, really? And I grabbed one of the guys and I just shoved him so hard into the locker, and like everyone freaked out and they like ran out of the like locker room. And I was like, wow, like that was pretty nice. Like
sometimes you have to stand up.
Yeah, you just have to. It was just nice because it was nice to stand up for somebody else getting bullied. and just being untouchable. Because like I was completely untouchable at the school. There's no way like anyone could have ever done anything, which is like a nice feeling. And it's like, I don't know.
Ooh,
It's like those redemption moments.
Yeah. I just remember, I feel like whenever we talk about this, I remember shit I haven't thought about forever.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But this was one of like probably the scariest things. It wasn't like a bully thing, but it was a really scary kind of interaction. I won't give any like specific details because it was, yeah. But I was basically like somewhere with like someone I knew, like was close with.
Mm-hmm.
And this person knew somebody who was like kind of a high up, like military guy, basically, like really high level, specialized type shit. And I'd like heard about him, never met him, but I was out somewhere, came back, and I was just sitting in a chair in his living room. It was nighttime. I had headphones on. I was watching a movie. I think he, like my friend, had kind of gone to bed or something. And I'm just sitting there, dude, and suddenly this person like pops around the chair. It's just staring at me. I've never seen this person before. I take my headphones out. Yeah, and I'm like, hi. And the first thing the guy said was, I think he said something like, are you a guy? Or something really fucked up. And I like freaked me out. I was like, yeah. Like I introduced myself. And I could tell he was like absolutely hammered.
Damn.
So anyways, turns out like this was the guy, like the military guy. And dude, he, like it was just me and him out in the living room. And he was like drunk, and those guys, like they're fucking like intense. They can be, right? So he's just like telling me all this crazy shit about how he's killed people, and then he pulls his gun out and he's like,
"Oh my
hold
God,
it!" Like
dude.
he tells me to hold it, and I'm like, "No, I'm good. I've never held a gun." And he's like forcing me to. He's like, "No, just do it." And then so, anyways, finally my friend came out because he heard, and he's like, "Dude, like what the fuck are you doing? Like put that away." And dude, it basically. There's other guy came who I also knew who did not like this guy, and they got into a fight. And dude, it turned into this whole thing where this guy was like threatening to like kill him. And like this other guy took his bullets from his gun and like hid them or threw them out. And then this guy was like threatening. He's like, I'm going to kill you and your family. Like it was so scary, dude. Like I was like, this guy, like, what's he going to do? Because it was like one of those people where it's like, there's nothing. You look into their eyes, there's nothing.
Yeah.
I thought I was like in serious danger because he was kind of having like a bit of a breakdown, right? So
that's freaky.
Yeah,
dude.
it was freaky, man. But nothing happened. It was all good. But yeah, I feel like there's all these little moments throughout my life that's added up to give me a bit of like permanent anxiety and like paranoia a little bit, you know? I don't know.
Totally.
Yeah.
That's wild though. Yeah, I remember one time I had band practice. And it was in college, and there was this town called St. Cloud or St. Joseph. I can't remember which one of the two. It's like they're right next to each other. But we had band practice, and the one friend's like, yeah, my buddy said we can use his house to do band practice. And I was like, okay, sounds good. So his friend gave him the key to his house, and then we showed up there. Just, to practice. It was like -30 out, middle of the winter. So we're just like at his friend's house. We go downstairs in the basement. We're just like playing. We're just like playing music. All of a sudden, this woman who looked very dirty and out of place, I guess, to just be there, she just comes downstairs and she's like, you guys got any drugs on you? Like, you got any, I need some pills. And we're just like, we were just like frozen. We were like, no, like this is just band practice. And she's just like, I need something. And she's just like, you can tell she was kind of tweaking off something. And we were like, whoa, like, who is this woman? Like, we don't know her. And the drummer, the guy who got in the house was like, I just realized I left the door open. Like I left it unlocked. So this woman just comes into the house, hears us practicing from outside, comes into the house, and then she goes upstairs after this interaction. She just goes upstairs and starts rummaging around upstairs. And we're all looking at each other like, do you guys know who this is? And we're like, nope. And she's like, I think she just literally came off the street and just opened the door and like went into the house. So everyone was like, okay, like, you got to go up, you got to go talk to her. And everyone's like, I'm not going to talk to her. Like, there's no way I'm talking to her. And they're like, no, like, this is your friend's house. You got to talk to her. And like, everyone's just like saying, like, everyone's telling everyone else to like go upstairs and like figure out the situation. Cause it's like, you're in somebody's house. It's not your house. So who's responsible to go upstairs and like let this woman out? Like tell her she's got to leave. And you don't know, like she could pull like a knife or something. I mean, she was very like out of it.
Yeah.
I can't remember how it ended up happening, but her name, we found out her name was Janice. So we ended up naming the band Janice on Drugs.
That's crazy, dude.
And that literally that, I think, night or later, maybe it was like later that week, we had a show at the college. Like it was like a talent show. And we're like, our band name is Janice on Drugs. And we just like played the song and we told the whole story. It was hilarious. Yeah. So,
Dude, that happened. Remember that happened when we were shooting, where you guys were staying. Someone just walked in. You remember that? When we were.
Oh yeah, that happened when we were shooting
in.
Farlight. Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. Because they thought
we were
it was
staying at like an old halfway house.
Yeah, they thought. Yeah, just came in, sat
like,
down, or
you know
something.
where my brother is? And I was like, no.
You guys.
I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
the door was unlocked. Same thing. You cannot leave your door just unlocked because like anyone can walk in. Apparently.
And you guys didn't know because it wasn't obviously any of
Yeah,
our
it
places.
wasn't like my house.
So you were just kind of
Yeah.
like, is this someone knows or what?
And we were just like, we're sorry. Like the house it's moved. Like it's different. And it was just crazy because you're just like, there's just a stranger in the house. Like he's in my house. Like,
Stranger.
you know, it's not my house, but just some random guy's just walking around. You're like, what the hell?
Dude, we used to rent out our basement in our old house to like random tenants. And I think we maybe had 4 different tenants or families. We had this one guy named Denley, and he was from like Newfoundland, and he was the fucking coolest guy. Taught me how to fish and like tie knots. But but sometimes we get like kind of a greasy tenant, and they would like just have sketchy people over, and it would freak me out because my bedroom window, you could hear like when they're outside like smoking and talking.
Oh yeah,
It'd just be like random guys there. I'd be like, oh, I hate this. Like what the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah. Greasy, dude.
How long did you guys do that for?
Quite a while. I mean, at least I think maybe like 3 years, something like that.
Okay, so it wasn't like extremely long. Though.
No.
It's not like your whole childhood. It was just randos in your basement.
Or you'd like hear like a family like arguing, like screaming through the floor. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
just depressing.
Dude, that's the one thing about like apartment living that's like rough when you have thin walls. Because I remember my mom, she moved into this apartment after I graduated high school, and every time I would come back from college, we would just like, I would just go to her place, and it was like there was 4 tenants in one house.
Yeah.
And you would just like hear the guy downstairs just like burping and just like coughing. And you're just like, oh my God, dude, like we're barely making any noise. You can just hear this guy.
Yeah, dude. This one place I lived, it just reminded me of this. I would always hear, I never met the person, but it was like my neighbor. And she would make this insane sound. It was like, like just through the wall. I would hear it every now and then. It pissed me off so much, dude. Where I would start to do it back. And for some reason, it just was this like, the worst sound ever. It must have been like coughing or sneezing, but yeah, I don't know. It's just funny.
Dude, my last place in Santa Monica, I was next to like this elementary school teacher. And like, I never heard her make any noise ever. And I was like, oh, she's just like such a sweet, innocent lady. And then one night I just wake up and she's just absolutely moaning and screaming.
Really?
Just absolutely in pure ecstasy. Some guys just like came over. It was just horrible. It was horrible. Because you're like, what do I do in that moment? Like, I don't want to overhear this because this is like obviously like a very intimate experience. But your wall is right next to my bedroom wall. So you're just like, I gotta like put in earplugs or whatever. And it's just, you could like the wall was just like pounding.
Oh, it's the movie.
And then, but I kind of felt bad for her because I only heard that one time over like 2 years.
You felt bad.
I was like, that's too bad.
It's like, I'll let her have this one. That's all right.
Well, it's like, you didn't even, it's not like I heard it multiple days. It's only happened one night. So,
dude, totally random thing, but this is something I've like asked a couple of people, but I've never had anyone that's like experienced it. I think this happened on 3 occasions, 2 that I remember. But the first time, like my mom was reading us a story, like the Hardy Boys, like she would read it to us when we were like young. And there was just this like fucking like sonic boom sound and the windows shook. And we went outside and like nobody Like no one ever said anything about it. I was like, what the hell was that? And then when the first time I moved to Toronto, my apartment there, I was just in the living room, same fucking sound. The window shook, and I looked outside, and everyone's just going like about their day. Have you ever had that? And I think it happened another time. Like, what is that? Like, why?
I've definitely been outside, like, or either outside or inside, in the middle of the country, and there's nothing around, and I just hear this massive sound, and there's just no explanation. Like I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but I've had similar events like that, so it's just like fully anomalous.
Yeah.
Just like what could have possibly caused that?
Yeah. It's like, was that like a glitch? You know,
Glitch
in
the
reality?
Matrix. Yeah.
I don't know. Fucking bizarre.
Yeah, it's weird.
Something's going
I don't
on
know.
here, buddy. I don't know.
Dude, sometimes I'd be laying on my trampoline, and you know, like those times of the year when these like, there's this like, you ever see those clouds of birds where like all of a sudden there's nothing, and then there's hundreds of thousands of birds that just swarm. They like create like a dark cloud in the sky. Dude, I would like lay on my trampoline and just see those like clouds of birds come over. And like, I don't even think I realized they were just birds like the first time I saw it. And I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because it's like they like blacken the sky.
Yeah.
I don't know I can't remember what types of bird like this is, but they travel in the most insane like amounts, like the most insane flocks. And it's like during migration times. Dude, it's absolutely nuts. And like they'll make like shapes in the sky. Like it looks like it's a fucking like tornado, but it's actually just like these birds that are just all flying in sync, which is crazy, by the way, because like they're not hitting each other. They're just all perfectly flying in sync, like a hive mind. They're like all telepathically communicating with each other. Super fascinating. But
yeah, I think I've seen those.
I always freaked me out when I was a kid, though.
I feel like this is just like a Stories from Our Lives podcast. I love it.
Yeah,
though.
Every time we do a solo, it's just reminiscing.
Dude, another random story I just remembered. When I went to go to Joplin to do that album with Caleb Dennison, and I was like staying at one of his friend's house, and he told me this story. I can't remember. It was something like Longmire's mansion or some it was like this guy like used to live there, and like he killed himself with a shotgun, and like his ghost haunts like the road.
Oh yeah, I think he might have told me this. I can't remember.
No, this is actually a different one, but I know the one you're talking about. Very similar.
Okay.
But this one, I just remember he's like, we're gonna like, do you want me to take you to that road? Because he's like, if you know, like sometimes you can see this light at the end of the road, but when you go up to it, there's nothing there. And it was legit. Like you'd go to the road and there was like this light at the end of the road. And then we drove up to it, and there's nothing there. It must have been one of those weird, like scientific, I don't know, whatever, but it was fucking weird. But the other one, yeah, that was like where some shit actually happened that night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't think I told that on the pod. Did I?
No, I don't think you did.
Yeah. I can tell her. Quick little greasy paranormal story.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So, all right, yeah. So, again, staying with one of my friends who helped out on like tour stuff in kind of like a town area that's like known for paranormal stuff a little bit. You know, there's those old places. So he told me, he's like, I think this was a real thing too. It's like, because there's a lot of like cult stuff around there.
Yeah.
Basically, and he basically told me like there was this like really rich guy who owned a big house, and this cult basically burned it down and like killed him. I think they like hung him and then burned it down or something like that. And he was like, anytime I've ever gone up there, like something happens with the car. Like the car shuts off, the head, like something fucks up. And I've always been super curious about this stuff. So he's like, do you want to go? And I'm like, yeah, we're going, like for sure. So nighttime we drive up, and so we're driving through this kind of like woods area, and there's literally like what do you call it? Like satanic, I don't know, shit, like just like little statues and like carvings and like those weird like stick doll things, like Blair Witch Project shit.
Oh, those stick dolls, dude. Oh.
So there's all this stuff, and there's like shrines and like some weird sculptures. So
remind me, where was this again?
It was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we drove up we get to the top of this hill and it's kind of the field, and he was like, yeah, his house was like somewhere down there. We got the sage going, or Palo Santos.
Palo Santo.
Get the bad energy.
This story is insane.
Creepy,
we gotta
dude.
add the Palo Santo.
And this is like for real. Like, so we're driving up there and we get to the top of the hill, and I shit you not, the car fucking shuts off. And he did not do it. Like, he did not, 100% did not, unless he had some like secret thing. And he's trying to get it to start, and I'm freaking out.
God,
I'm like,
dude.
can we just get the fuck out of here? Because I didn't really like, I'm always really skeptical about that. But something happened with the car. So he's like, yeah, he's like, I fucking told you, like, this happens. So we get the car and we leave and we go back to his house. And for some reason, we started watching this Ouija movie, horror movie.
Great idea.
Yeah, great fucking idea
to pair that.
And we're just watching it. And he had like a shopping cart in his apartment just for carrying stuff up, because it was like an elevator and whatever.
Yep.
And we're sitting there watching, dude, and just suddenly, boom, like this banging sound. And I turn around and the cart was like, it had fucking hit the wall. And he was just like, yeah, like this shit happens. He's like, I've had so many like paranormal experiences in this apartment. Like, shit happens all the time. Like, he wasn't even phased. And I was like, what the fuck's going on? Because like, you know. But then it's just like you just move on. You're like, oh, I guess that happened. Maybe not. I don't know. So probably the closest like paranormal experience I've had. Yeah. So that was weird.
I got a rock.
Got a rock a thick one right now. Okay.
I don't know what's so funny about that. I was like, I've been waiting for like,
dude, you always
5
time it.
minutes to just say I'm.
That's so funny, dude.
Just say I'm gonna rock one, and for whatever reason, right as I was about to say it, I just could not say it. I should probably actually rock one though.
All right, sounds good.
I'll be back.
Cool. Yes. Don't know if I have anything for today. But yeah, I don't know. I did get Josh's text. Nice dude, exclamation point. Which I appreciate. So thanks. Thank you, Josh. And that should be about all. Can really see the crinkles in the leather of that chair right now. Got a nice greenish yellow hue to it. It's a worn in satin chair right there. That's a weathered leather right there. So. Yep. You know what? I'm going to light my own Palo Santos right now. I got her.
Weathered leather, huh? This thing is
weathered leather.
I don't know, the most Amazon shitty chair, like plastic. I mean, it's not plastic. It's like, what do you call that material? It's like nylon. It's like, you know, like
nylon
shoes.
polymer.
You know, tennis shoes have it. It's like breathable material.
Acrylic, is that it?
Nylon or acrylic.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I was trying to think if I had any other ghost stories. There used to be this, I mean, it's kind of a sad story, but there's this lady who, her name was Annie, and like she drowned all her kids in like a river near my old place where I used to live.
Damn.
Sad story, obviously.
Was that like on a documentary or something?
No, this was just like a real thing that happened like near Henderson, Minnesota. And there was this bridge, because like under the bridge is where she like drowned all her children. And there's this bridge, and we called it Crazy Annie's Bridge. And we would like go there in the middle of the night, and you're supposed to do this like ritual where you like say these words. Like, I can't remember exactly what it is, but we would go there and you would like wait for something to happen, and nothing actually ever happened there. But I was hoping it would. I was always hoping it would. I remember one time I went there and someone sprayed like ketchup on like the sign of the bridge, and I was like, that's not really the most convincing scare tactic there. But yeah, it's kind of a dark dark event. But yeah, like I always wished that something would happen. Then there was this other there's story of this guy called like the Lantern Man, who like people would always see this guy with a lantern on these train tracks.
Dude, I've
nearby.
read that somewhere. It was in one of those storybooks.
Oh yeah, this is like there's like a local, and I'm pretty sure because I've read this before. This is like a local Minnesota.
Yeah, those are based on real shit. Yeah,
you hear these like these legends, and there's something that's just like, I don't know. It's something about like a legend, like a ghost story that's like been around for a long time. It's like whether it happened, whether the actual event happened that caused the legend or not, it just makes it so much scarier that it's like a legend, like that it's been circulated, like the story has been circulated for many years and passed down. Because it's like obviously it made some impact for people to retell the story. You know
100%. Didn't some stuff happen when we were shooting Farlight? Like some creepy stuff? I feel like something did, like each time.
Well, dude, the old dog cabin in 2023. I mean, people can see some stuff at the trailer. That's where you fly out, like you wake up out of bed and there's like a face at the end of the bed.
Yeah.
That cabin was creepy as hell.
It was.
Like I had some, and I kept hitting my head on this doorway because this cabin was made in the 1800s or some shit, and. Dude, people were not tall back then, apparently. I don't know. I kept hitting my head in this doorway just so hard. Pounding and pounding and pounding. And dude, I probably hit my head on this thing, like, no joke, like 12 times.
Yeah.
And it, started bleeding.
I remember that.
I've never had that happen before.
And I fucked my foot up, too. Remember that?
Fucked
my
you
toe
absolutely
up.
Smashed.
I forget what happened.
You got bruised so bad. You hit like the edge of that.
I thought it was broken. I remember
the floor. Do you think you broke your? Yeah,
I thought
you
I
broke your
did
toe
because it was swelled up, and I'm like, oh my god. Yeah.
Dude, that place was that was a creepy place.
It was, yeah.
And it was fucking hot at night.
Yeah, it was.
In the first podcast, we talked about this a little bit.
We did, yeah.
But it was fucking hot. I remember it was hot. And dude, I had all the prosthetics in my room. So like all the masks were just like splayed out. And I had to like fucking sleep there all by myself. Like just and like you're like in a totally different room, way far away from me. Well, actually you were technically above. You were technically above me, but I felt so scared in there. Like I was just piled up with all the totes.
I know. And I was worried about spiders too. I don't think I saw any though. Yeah.
That was a wild shoot. That really was.
Dude, I swear something else happened though, like at the theater we shot at. I think it was just like we thought we heard the door open multiple times, but nobody was there.
There definitely was like a thing that I can't think of right now that was like a legit.
There was a fucking someone painted the bowl the last night. That was a horror story.
We don't know if that was anybody.
We don't know
on our crew.
We don't know.
Could have been a pedestrian.
Yeah,
because we had to switch. We had to switch that place.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, we had to switch.
Yeah, but no, I feel like something happened. I really can't recall though.
It's so hard. Well, Hedge Mill was kind of creepy. The interior stuff was creepy. The exterior stuff was everything every time you're like shooting for a horror movie, like you are kind of freaked out.
Yeah.
Because you're like, am I inviting like entities like filming this right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, that barn attic.
That was
kind of creepy. And I was worried that we were going to fall through the floorboards because that was my old place that I grew up. And some of those boards like rot out. And but it was covered in straw and hay, so you couldn't see anything.
No.
So I'm just like waiting for somebody to like step on something and just go down.
That was dangerous for sure. I remember recently I was looking through pictures we took and I found a picture of like I used to call it Data Village. It was like where I would dump all the footage. Just my two hard drives like piled on top of tools and shit. Just cords everywhere. So fun.
Yeah, I remember that.
Barely plugged in.
We put the computer on all like the tools.
I gotta throw that picture up. It's funny.
Dude, do you remember when like the battery just or the camera just went out in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Dude, that was devastating.
How did we fix that?
It was the cable.
Did we have to
get the cable shit out?
How did we fix that? I can't remember.
You just ordered a new cable, I think.
Did I really?
We had to like wait an extra day, I thought, because that was the thing is like you have this schedule set up, and if you don't meet the schedule, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
So we were just like, oh man, like what are we gonna do? Like, there's no places to rent like this gear by tomorrow. I don't remember exactly like what we did, but you got a new cable pretty quickly, I think.
Yeah.
It was scary though.
Pounding fucking Coke Zeros. Absolutely.
Oh yeah. Hedge Mill.
Pounding.
The Red Bull Zeros and the Coke Zeros. Every film has its own little quirks and little like like what were we doing all the time during that, you know? Old Dog, I was also pounding I was pounding the Red Bull Zeros with Old Dog too. Dude, I remember the last night on Old Dog, you were getting into the dog cage.
Oh yeah.
You remember that
Yeah.
shit? And you're just like scrambled up in this fucking dog cage. And I'm trying to like fit you in it.
Yeah, I
And I'm
remember
like
that.
trying to like screw you in. And you're like, and I'm just like, just suck everything in.
I was, yeah.
And then we get
So
you in there.
uncomfortable.
And dude, we're on like hour 16 of filming that night. This is the last night. And I start cramping. Like my abs start cramping because I'm drinking so much Red Bull Zero and so little water that I'm just like my muscles, like I get these spasms. I was getting these like spasms as we were filming. And I was like I was in tighty whities.
Yeah, dude. Hunched over holding the camera.
We just filmed this fucking like creature scene, and I was in tighty whities and a wife beater. So I'm just in tighty whities with a wife beater, and you're in a fucking dog cage at 3 a.m. in the middle of the woods, and I'm filming it,
Holy fuck, dude.
and I'm cramping my ass off.
I know.
And then the cabin was just a mess, dude. The dishes were so
Oh yeah.
like, just horrible, dude. That was the last night. Oh.
Man,
I remember clearing that cabin out was a nightmare.
Oh,
I think it
it
took us
was.
like 6 hours.
it was rough.
Just to clear it out. It took like 6 hours.
Because we had all the shit in a room we weren't using, and then we need to use the room, so we just move it all into the other room.
Oh God, that was a nightmare.
Trying to
And
find stuff.
Just to think we're not going to use that film at all. Maybe we'll use little pieces here and there, but
I know.
that's what
kinda
we're
funny.
refilming though this summer is that
Yeah.
story. So it's like full circle 2 years later. 2 years exactly. It'll be sealing it up, sealing the deal.
Dude, I remember too, we had to order something to that cabin that was like an important prop. And I
Yeah.
feel like the mail person came and both of us were kind of freaked out or something because we didn't know who it was. I think that happened too. Someone just knocking at
Well,
the door.
you were technically like not supposed to mail things to Airbnbs.
I think that was it.
I'm still trying to think of like what was like the paranormal thing that was happening with Farlight because there was something.
Yeah, there 100%
For sure.
was.
Like it's one of those things where like once you try to think about it, you can't think of it.
Did we have any other gear issues besides that?
Mm.
I don't think we had too much.
Monitor. No. Oh, no. I'm trying to think. Not really. It wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
I think one time we had some issues on that porch scene in Hedgemill. You remember like something with the camera just kept shutting off?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. It was like it had all
Well, that
these
was the
weird,
same
like
night.
glitchy lines on it.
Oh, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was weird.
It was probably the cable thing in the end.
Yeah, it probably was.
That burn barrel scene. God, just burning hot
Yeah.
barrel.
One of my favorite scenes, though, actually.
And then I dumped that in the garbage and it started on fire.
So funny.
Yeah, I remember that dumpster fire.
Yep.
That was wild. The last showing was probably the smoothest, I think.
We had
of
the camera
three.
plugged in most of the time, which was nice.
Yeah, that was huge.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was great.
It was all still shots.
Well, we got like, 5 months till we do the next one, so.
Yeah. Got to start growing that beard out. When are you going to start? You were going to start before and then
I
you
was.
decided not to.
Yeah, I think I'll probably start in June. June or July, like probably give it like 3 months. I don't think I need to do more than that because it grows so fast.
The summer of Greece. That's what we'll call it.
Just have to stay inside the whole summer. It'll be worth it though.
No, I mean, yeah, it's like you can keep it like nice and trimmed.
It's just that weird middle point where it's like,
Yeah, you just got to like thicken it up. You can like trim it down probably and keep it because that's what you need to do is just get it thicker and thicker. Like usually I shave, every now and then, like once a week, usually only for the pod. But like if I shave it, like if I don't use like a razor and shaving cream and I'm just using like an electronic like trimmer, that just like trims it down, but it like stays thick and it gets thicker and thicker. And even when you trim it down, it's just like thicker. So you can probably do something like that.
I got to do some beard research. Are you going to grow a handlebar for your character?
A handlebar would be nice.
That would be wild. Get little circle glasses and a handlebar.
It'd be a nice touch, you know?
It would. You remember that first night on Old Dog we like played cards?
I do remember that.
I couldn't tell if you like wanted to or not. I was like, you want to play cards? I couldn't tell.
It was weird because it was kind of the first time we also like hung out.
It was,
We're just like, we're just going to be, the first time we hang out, just be alone in a cabin filming a movie. And it's just like in the middle of nowhere. Just like.
Yeah, it's funny, man, because you have to spend a little while, like get a read on somebody. There's always that first bit, you know. But
totally.
then I realized like we're super similar, so it was, it was good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I kind of always like knew we were really, really similar just because I listened to your podcast and stuff. So I was like, okay, I already know kind of who you are. Not obviously like face to face, you know, someone's real personal life is way different. But it's just kind of interesting. Like podcasts can kind of like inform you of who someone is before you actually meet them, which I feel like a lot of celebrities will talk about. Like people come up to them and it's like, you know, they're like, they already know who you are, but you don't know who they are. So it's like a weird dynamic. So that's interesting.
Yeah. No, it's kind of nice.
But it is kind of nice because like it's, you know, someone can like you not just for like your art, but like maybe just who you are or like can relate to you on something. Because I think a lot of like when you meet someone, maybe your favorite artist or your favorite actor, and you realize like, oh yeah, they're just a regular person just like me. I feel like, I don't know, it's just kind of nice to remind yourself of that. Because like in LA, you know, it's like, oh my God, there's like that celebrities walking down the street. It's like, well, it's, you know, it doesn't really matter. Like who cares, you know? But I don't know. It's kind of nice though. But yeah, I remember that. I remember those first few nights. We were just like, how the fuck is this gonna work? this like
go to the gas station and get some food. Got Josh a frozen pizza. Yeah,
dude, you got to drive 25 minutes to town, and it's like a deserted small rural town. There's like nothing there.
But yeah, no, I've enjoyed doing this. I think this is our 20th episode, which is cool. It's nice, like not I don't know, just with doing this, like you're not crafting any kind of persona. It's just like just two dudes sitting here talking about shit. I always enjoy it.
Yeah, it's fun to do, and it's like sometimes it's hard because you like look back and you're like, oh, did I really say that? Like did I really say that on the podcast? Like, you know, maybe you didn't care like when it came out, but then you look back like a month later and you're like, God damn, I'm an idiot.
Do you have some stuff like that you've said? You're like,
just like once, like if you're feeling goofy or stupid and you just say the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah.
And then like, there's definitely been times where I've said stuff where I'm like, why did I say that on the podcast? But it's just like, I think it's just real because it's just like, I think most people know, like, you know, everyone says stupid shit and it's not always on the internet. But with the podcast, it's like nothing extreme. It's just like, you know, once in a while you'll be like, I was just acting like a dumbass in that episode or whatever.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's all for the art of it. And it's just fun to do.
Yeah, for sure. It is.
Just a way to connect, you know. But yeah, episode 20, that's crazy. Got the Easter special coming up.
Oh, yeah. Micah said he was down, so.
Hell yeah. Got to get Josh on there. And not Josh's astral body. We need his real presence.
The real Jay.
Well, should we wrap her up?
Let's fucking wrap her up and send her home. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to the pod. Hit the sub, hit the like, check the merch.
Check out the merch.
Yeah. Check out the merch, guys.
It's really good stuff, actually. It's nice.
It sells
nice
itself,
stuff.
You know?
It's good. It's good products.
I love how I never rep any of it, but, you know.
You got the Anxious Ghost shirt on there.
Yep.
Nice little logo.
Yeah, cool little logo.
Not quite as good as this one.
That is a good logo.
This one's, and I don't even think you'd call that a logo, but.
Well, it's kind of like, I feel like.
It's more the Ouroboros.
Yeah. When a movie's out, that's when you want to have the merch.
Yeah. I still can't wait till we come up with our title sequence for Amber Force Pictures, like the animation thing at the beginning.
Yeah, we need something epic.
That's going to be
Definitely.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
Sweet. Well, yeah, thank y'all.
Thanks for
Appreciate
listening. And we'll catch you in the next one.
Catch you in the next one. I got a new song drop in April. 9th or
You ruined the
10th.
outro.
Sorry. I forgot to promote that, but
No, you got to pump it. You got to pump the song.
April something, 10th, I think. It's a greasy little.
Nice, dude.
No, it's not greasy. It's a cool little emo rap. Call it a prayer to the universe, not knowing if anyone's listening. That's what I put in my Spotify pitch. So you know, I don't know. But yeah, no, it's a cool
Just
track.
put me on a playlist.
I know, dude. Yeah, but yeah.
That's
Anyways,
funny. No, I've been loving the new music. I think you've put out like 7 songs since I put my last song out. So I gotta catch up here.
yeah. You're working on one, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna put one out here in a couple weeks, about 3 weeks.
Yeah. No, it sounded great. Keep her
Sweet.
pumping. Sweet. Well, yeah. Thank you all.
Absolutely.
Thanks for watching. Check out all the stuff we said, and we'll catch you in the next one, boys. All right, guys. Have a good one. Talk to you
Peace.
soon. Peace.
Locked and loaded.